also, I think it's important that the redeployment of excess staff to this area happens, as it did with vetting, when 25 staff were moved from agriculture. I welcome also the national approach that you're going to take, and I suppose the three things that we have: the tools, the knowledge, and the resources. And Minister, as a mother, as a parent, I have complete trust in you, and I am sure after the 3 years that we've left in this government, you will be one of the ministers that has made huge change, and I certainly would be very proud as a woman and as a parent of 2 children. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Senator van Turnhout.
Thank you very much. And Minister, firstly I'd like to very much warmly welcome you to the House. My request to ask you to address us was actually twofold. One was to give confidence, particularly to parents, but to the wider public, and I feel that you have done that today in the statement that you've given us. And second was actually to send a strong message to your Cabinet colleagues about the importance of this issue, and that it can't just be, it needs to really be a wake-up call. And yesterday during the order business we all got plenty of time, I think, to voice our concerns over the images that we saw. And so today I want to move beyond that shock and talk about our role as legislators. And I think some of the issues you've raised today about the importance of the registration system bringing in, about having sanctions, amending the Childcare Act, you know that you'll have the support of this House here to do that. The responsibility of management, and actually that's an issue that I don't think has got played out. What really concerned me watching the report was the researcher in some of the cases reported it to management, and they did not see the need to take action till they knew they were going to be exposed by prime time. And that, for me, actually shows a more systemic problem within the setting, that they didn't see that they needed to take action because one of the workers reported it. Minister, I very much welcome your assurance that not only the Gardaí are investigating, but the HSE are following up as appropriate. I welcome that you're going to commence the publishing of the inspection reports, and I agree with you that parents should ask for inspection reports if they wish to see them. Minister, there is an issue, though, of places that have not been inspected. We've heard of 5 local health areas. We've heard of some areas that 4 years without an inspection. I do think we need to prioritise any childcare setting that has not been inspected within the last 12 months, that they need to be prioritised and actioned for inspection. I very much agree with you that we need to look at the relationships. When the inspection is happening, I think we've had all too much an emphasis on the physical environment and not looked at the learning environment, the relationship environment that is there. We do need to really invest in children and not concrete. Minister, you've said yourself, we have Shielta, it's the National Quality Framework. We have ASHTR, the national curriculum. We have the 2010 Workforce Development Plan. We hopefully shortly have the early years strategy. And for me, Minister, I nearly see those as 4 wheels on a good car that we have. So we have all the parts there, but we do need the engine to drive it forward, and we need the investment in doing that. I was alarmed to see actually in the Irish Times this morning, I think because people have on this cost issue, there's been a lot of talk, and are we going to put more burden on parents? They did a chart on the public expenditure on preschool care and education as a percentage of GDP. Ireland spends less than 0.2%. France spends 1.5% of their percentage of GDP on early years education. UK 1.1%, New Zealand 1%. Belgium was the closest to us at 0.7%. So there is an issue for us about the expenditure of our GDP. So for me, instead of looking at investing necessarily in concrete, we should be looking at investing in our children and in childhood. The National Vetting Bureau Bill has been mentioned, Minister, and I too put down amendments that childminding, supported by Childminding Ireland, that where there is a regular payment for a service, we have to find a way that it can be vetted. Minister, in relation to the Children First Bill, I think, I know you've said it will be published shortly. I'm a member of the Health and Children Committee. We had an opportunity to examine the heads of bill last summer, and we had many different organisations and groups in sharing their viewpoints. At the time, Minister, and I'd be looking for your reassurance today, it was proposed in the heads bill that emotional abuse would not be included. Now, in your description of the primetime programme, you talked of emotional abuse. For me, it is absolutely critical, and many members on the Health and Children Committee, many of the NGOs who came into us, all said emotional abuse has to be included, not just physical neglect and sexual abuse. So I hope one of the things this programme will achieve is that emotional abuse will be part of the Children First legislation. For me, it has to be absolutely part of the legislation. Minister, there's much we could do. We've already had discussions here in the Seanad on early years education and intervention. We know that there is some really excellent people in the workforce, but if they're not being paid as a profession, and that's where the investment has to come, how do we expect that further education and training to take place? So I think there's many issues, Minister. I do welcome you to come in. I'm conscious there's many other speakers, Minister, so I'll leave it there. But as you are no doubt aware, I have so much I'd love to be saying on this issue.
Please, Senator Maloney. Sorry.
Very much, Dr. Hurlick. Can I share time with Senator Maloney?
If that's agreed with the House, is 2.5 minutes each.
No, 3 to 2.
3 to 2. Okay, yep. Thank you.
Okay. First of all, Minister, I'd like to thank you for coming into the House today. And I agree with a lot of what Senator van Turnhout and what Senator Henry have already said, so I'm not going to repeat it, and I think your record speaks for itself in terms of your excellent performance as Minister. I would just like to make a number of comments, and in relation to the primetime programme, I'm literally going to be very brief in relation to the primetime programme, because I'd like to move beyond the primetime programme. I do think there is an issue in the way that it came into the public domain, particularly the fact that it's been reported there was a HSE inspection of one of the creches a month previously. I think there is an issue with the inspection regime. I'm aware of similar inspection regimes in other areas where, it is the form of the inspection that is the issue. Some inspections end up being nothing more than a tick-box exercise, and in reality people do what you inspect, not what you expect, and enforcement, as you said yourself, is the key. So I very much welcome the commitments that you have made and the matters that you have outlined in your statement, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time going into them. But I do think enforcement and inspection is key. I think one of the things in terms of the debate that I would like to do is to broaden it out slightly. I mean, to me there are two issues here. One of them is about child minding per se, and the other, and that obviously has to incorporate very much child safety. The other is early years, early education strategy. Now, of course, the two issues are not exclusive of each other, but I do think that we have developed a two-tier childcare system in this country. The formal system, which is being delivered through principally through private creches, and the informal sector that is delivered informally, mainly through children being minded by other members of their communities and